820 here, Big 550, KTRS. In terms of full disclosure, our next guest sits on what has to be considered one of the greatest boards in the history of St. Louis, and that is the Great Rivers Greenway Board. Good morning, Carol Klein.
Good morning, McGraw. How are you?
How am I doing on the board so far?
You're doing great. It's great to have you there. That's why it's the greatest board.
Well, clearly you have been told that you never badmouth the host. That is the smart thing. But it's to tell people it's the board that spends the sales tax money that goes to parks and parks and bike paths and
connecting parks
and bike paths and all that type of stuff. Yes,
right. The 110 miles of the River Ring.
Right, and it's St. Louis County, St. Louis City, and St. Charles, and so we all come together once a month and we talk and discuss. And actually, I am not shocked, but I am overwhelmed at how well of a board it's run, how they are so committed to the cause, and how focused they are on all of it. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's really a great example of collaboration and coming together. It's unique in the area, I think. And, the other thing that we try to be, as you know, is to be very responsible with those taxpayer dollars, and that 90% of every dollar goes into something you can touch, see, feel, or experience.
Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary. All right, so we had a meeting the other day, and I saw you on TV a week or so ago. You have put together a book called Painting for Peace in Furguson.
That's right.
Where'd you get the idea for this book?
Well, I was inspired by two things. I'm from Furguson originally, grew up there. And so after all of the racial violence in November, I went up Thanksgiving weekend to see what I could do. And while I was there, saw literally hundreds of people come out, and they were all from the community, just ordinary folks. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were professional painters, but there were many more just ordinary people, families saying, this is not what our community is about. Mm-hmm. And I think after the events of this week and last night, this is a message that's needed more than ever.
So what did you do? You got together and you took pictures of the art.
Well, I took a few, but more importantly, I hired people with expensive cameras that know how to use them.
Okay.
To come out, and particularly Michael Kilfoy and Ryan Archer. I used all local people for the book.
Right.
And the idea was really to just tell this story. And we decided to do a children's book for two reasons. One, I was inspired by the Mr. Rogers quote that says, when scary things happen in the news, look for the helpers, because there's always helpers. And I think that's important to keep in mind today, too. And that, we have to really get, as you were saying earlier, we have to get from us versus them to we.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The pictures and the art, it was touched on. It certainly wasn't reported on the way it should be. It didn't get the attention it deserved. So the fact that you wrote the book calling attention to the art is tremendous. But the art itself, talk about healing, talk about understanding. You can learn more from these pictures than you can by listening to the protesters, listening to the news media, listening to the police, listening to lawyers. It really paints a picture of what happened.
Well, exactly, and I think that there are a lot of people really working to heal this community. My Facebook page this morning is just full of messages about, praying for the city, and we've got to come together. And there's art that talks about the social issues. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We matter together. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And I think it's something that parents and educators really get it. It's a tool that can be used on many levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love it. This is the thing that really got me. People of all ages, all races, parents with their children, just random people who were showing up to do this. And some of the messages are just so simple yet dramatic.
It's very compelling. And, that was something we put the names, we got the idea for the book after the event had happened.
Right.
So a lot of it was sort of backtracking, using social media to get the names of the people and that kind of thing. And but at the end of the day, we have over 300 people that participated. So this wasn't like a half a dozen people. This
right.
was a community really coming together.
Talk about, because one man's graffiti is another man's art. How did you determine what was considered art and what was considered graffiti? And or did you?
We really tried to show a range. I mean, we have everything from kids' arts to there's one artist, a professional artist, Lisa Sanditz, who has had major shows in New York galleries. She's even featured in museums across the country. She gave up her Thanksgiving to come up, and she's working side by side with families and little kids. So it was the whole range.
You had powerful words. You had words of love, nature, just a little bit of everything.
Do you have
Bold.
a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
I think one of my favorites, at least this week, is there's one that's a Mexican proverb that says, "They tried to bury us. They didn't know that we were seeds." And I really do hope that, after all of this, there can be real seeds of new beginnings in Furguson, because I know that city, and that city's been down before.
Well, look, Kelly and I are trying to figure out what happened last night with these two police officers being shot. It seems like the healing was already beginning, right? You had these people who were resigning and stepping down and being fired, and the Justice Department came in with their reports, and wholesale changes were being made, and then you have these people out there who were looking for trouble and end up shooting two police officers. So how much healing has gone on? I mean, it's still very raw.
There is a lot of pain there too, and I don't know that we don't know who did the shooting,
right?
So we can't. That's the thing, we've got to be out of the armchair quarterbacking and deciding who's doing what for what reason. I think what we have to focus on is really coming together. I mean, one thing I would love to see out of this is so many of the clergy and the ministers played a peacekeeping role. Well, this would be a wonderful time to get people together to do a march or a parade of reconciliation. I really do think that would be something I'd love to see the clergy playing that role.
Where do we get the book?
The book is available in many places, and we just have the brand new hardback out that just came in from the printer yesterday. So any of your listeners that may have ordered one and wondering where it was, it'll be there shortly. But it can be ordered on our website, paintingforpeacebook.com. It's available at local independent bookstores like Left Bank Book and Serendipity Books, really throughout the city. And up in Furguson, the I Love Furguson store has it. Several small retailers have it. And it's also at the History Museum, City Museum, and it's just recently on Amazon.
And you should note that the proceeds are benefiting art and youth programs and small businesses.
Yeah, all profits. I mean, I'm not making a dime from this. All profits are going to help North County. So it's not only a way for to get a message of healing, especially for kids. We have two things on our website. Also, we have actually a lot of resources on our website, but one in particular that I've been using as I talk to kids is some coloring pages where they can do their own messages of hope and peace.
The book is Painting for Peace. What the official title is, Painting for Peace in Furguson. The website is paintingforpeacebook.com to find out more. You can get it online in all those other local bookstores. Carol Klein, thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
You got
Very
it.
nice.
8:30 here, Big 550.